All right, Watch fam, thank you for clicking on my video and welcome back to the channel. Today, I am super excited to talk to you about the Cartier Santos WSAA0018. Again, that's WSAA0018. Before we get started, let's do a quick wrist check for a watch that I'm going to do a comparison on this video from a case dimension perspective, and that is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Geophysic 1958 edition. This has a 38.5 millimeter case diameter, about 9.5 millimeters thick, if I remember correctly, and has a lug-to-lug of just under 46.5 millimeters. With that said, despite having very similar specs, these watches wear extremely different. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the Cartier Santos. We're going to talk high level about the specs, its wearability from my perspective, as there's been a ton of videos already about the Santos. I really just want to share my experience with it, why I ultimately added it to my collection, and who this watch for it and why, in my opinion. All right, so we're going to talk about the specs on the Cartier Santos Large. As I mentioned earlier, I think this watch is extremely comfortable to wear. It comes in at 39.8 by 47.5 millimeters. So 47.5 millimeters lug to lug going across your wrist, and 39.8 on the vertical part allows this watch to wear really comfortable. This does not have a diameter, as it's a square watch, so those dimensions can be misleading. The JLC that I had on that I referenced earlier has 38.5 millimeter diameter with a 46.5 millimeter lug to lug, and as you can see, those watches wear extremely different on the wrist. The Santos comes in at 9.7 millimeters thick. The watch actually looks thicker than that 9.7 millimeters, and that is because of the way the lugs have this beautiful downturn and curvature to it, along with a beautiful curvature to the sapphire crystal. However, this watch, because of the case dimensions, will slide under any dress cuff and is extremely comfortable to wear. I wouldn't say that it's a light watch. You definitely know and feel the presence on your wrist. But with that being said, the way the lugs downturn allows this watch to hug on my wrist very nicely. The bracelet is extremely comfortable to wear despite not having any micro adjustments, and I think that's attributed to the size of these links. These links do feel a lot narrower and smaller, so when you're removing them, you're getting a little bit less. I think you're taking off a few less inches than what you would say size in a Rolex bracelet. But with that being said, Cartier features a quick adjustment bracelet system that is simply the best in the watch industry. You've probably heard several other YouTubers say, we don't know why other watch brands haven't adopted a form of this system, easy and intuitive, and can be done with your fingernail without damaging or adding any scratches to your watch. You simply flip the watch over and use your fingernail to press that little button. The pin pops out, you pull it out, and Cartier was even genius enough to make sure that you couldn't pull the pin out all the way, so you don't have to worry about losing it or having really expensive replacement parts, as I'm sure that is not a inexpensive thing to have done. So despite not having any micro adjustments, Cartier definitely went the extra mile by making sure that this is really easy to change if you are in need to add or remove a link. Cartier also features a quick release strap change system, so this bracelet is easily removed just as easily as it is to remove a link. You simply just flip the watch over, use your fingernail to press in the button, and voila, this bracelet is removed. There are other quick release strap change systems. I find that the Cartier one is by far the best that I've seen. They also go the extra mile by providing you with an additional strap out of the box, which I think is fantastic. Mine comes with this beautiful tanned Cartier strap that looks really great. I'm not sure how often I am going to wear this. I also have a third-party option by a company called Delugs that unfortunately no longer makes Cartier straps anymore. However, this one has the Cartier quick release strap change system built in, and I think looks really incredible. The Cartier straps options start off at $249, which I actually think is a fair price for what you're getting, considering that an Omega NATO strap is probably going to set you back $160. If you were to purchase a leather Omega NATO, you're looking at $249, and I believe that JLC straps start off at $300 without this strap changing system. I actually think it's a relatively reasonable price. One of the things that I thought would drive me crazy are the screws in the bracelet. None of the screws seem to be going in the same direction. However, I think that adds to the appeal of the bracelet. It gives us this more sporty and industrial look and allows this watch to be dressed down just a little bit more than I think it would otherwise. One of the things that I've heard many owners complain about the Cartier is the bezel. So the bezel is a love-hate relationship. It is simply stunning. It is done in a very, very high gloss. However, that makes it a scratch magnet. So if you're a watch collector that really likes to keep all your watches in pristine condition, I would probably steer away of the Cartier Santos, as I do not see a world that you can wear this watch and not have scratches on the bezel. I don't own any watch that I would consider a safe queen, and if it's in my collection, it's designed to be worn. I've also have seen some really amazing vintage references of different Cartier Santoses in different sizes, and as they age and the stainless steel polishing wears off, you get to see these scratches, and I think they just look really amazing. So I am looking forward to the day that my Cartier ages and gets a few scratches and some wabi-sabi and look like I've really worn and enjoyed wearing my Cartier. Moving on to wearability, as I highlighted a little bit earlier, the Cartier is extremely comfortable to wear despite not having any micro adjustment. And the only gripe that I have for this watch is that it doesn't have micro adjustments. I'm not saying that Cartier Santos is a perfect watch. I know there's a lot of people who will never get on board with a square watch, and that is okay. Square watches are not for everyone. But if you are looking at the Cartier Santos, you are probably already over the fact that it's a square watch. And I would challenge you to find very many faults with it outside of that. The stainless steel bezel is extremely beautiful, so it's really hard to fault Cartier for going that direction, but it is a scratch magnet. So that is another small gripe that I think I've heard from some collectors. This watch wears closer to a 41.5 to 42 millimeter watch. I actually think it probably wears really close to my Omega Seamaster 300 from a dimension standpoint, obviously coming in a lot thinner. If you're looking at the Cartier Santos and you're torn between the large and the medium, in my opinion, I would go for the medium if I had a 7-inch or less wrist size. I think if you have 7 inches or more, you can go either direction. But if you're going to go more the sports watch route, I think the large really kind of fits that bill. So why did I add the Cartier Santos Large to my collection? I tried both on about 4 years ago, and I really fell in love with them both. I ended up going with the Blue Polaris that year instead, but there was something about the Santos that just kept calling me back. I've watched several videos, I've read several articles on the Santos. There's a lot of great material about the watch, just the history, the pedigree. And one thing that stuck out is that when I sent my wife a picture of both those watches, she said that it looks like an old man watch. But after she even got a chance to experience the Santos, I think she quickly converted over and saw the appeal and just this classic timeless design that I think can be a feature of any collection. When I think of iconic watches, I think the Santos sits amongst the best of them. I just love really, really great engineering. I think Cartier hit the nail on the head with just the fine details of making the wearing experience for the owner amazing. The ability to quickly change straps, to quickly size my bracelet, and to do so on something that just feels super high quality is really just a treat that I don't have to go to a watchmaker or go to a jeweler to have my bracelet size. I think was just a really significant selling point for me. I currently don't have any square watches that I was wearing often. I am looking forward to adding a Monaco Calibre 11, but I was missing a square watch in the collection and I wanted a little bit more diversity, and I think this really is the square watch to add in my opinion. I think the Cartier Santos also makes a strong case to being a one watch only collection. The watch is extremely versatile. I could see the appeal to be a piece that you wear every single day, and I am really looking forward to seeing how my Cartier ages over the years. So moving on to who is this watch for? So if you're looking for something outside of a Rolex sports watch, this is a really great place to start. These are definitely starting to pick up in popularity. The integrated bracelet market has exploded. I actually think this is a really great option. That's a design to stand all on its own, and despite it not being an integrated bracelet, it definitely does have a seamless integrated look on the wrist. This is also a sports watch with a touch of class. When I think about class, elegance, and just really stunning execution, Cartier is a really strong watchmaker that has been doing it for a really long time, that have ton of brand cachet, brand history. It's going to have a lot of respect under any watchmaking circle, and it looks really incredible on the wrist. This watch is for people who also might be looking just for the finer things. This is definitely not a tool watch. The Cartier Santos feels like a luxurious piece of jewelry on your wrist. It feels elegant. Lastly, the other person I think this is for, a person looking for a watch with a really classic and timeless design that's extremely versatile. This is a great contender. But with that said, if you get an opportunity to try on the Santos, try it on to make sure that you really understand what the dimensions are and how they're going to wear. Cartier Santos. This is the Cartier Santos, reference number WSAA0018. Definitely a watch that I would recommend if you have an opportunity to get hands-on with, to do so. Watch fam, thank you for clicking on my video again of the Cartier Santos. Super excited that this is now in my collection after thinking about it for almost 4 years. So with that said, everyone have an amazing 2023. 2022 was definitely an interesting year for me. Put a lot more into the channel. Great chatting with everybody. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my Instagram page, JWO Studios, and I will see you all soon.